today was actually a really good day. A really good day. I requested the rest of the week off. Yesterday was really hard. It was really hard to stay focused, and at least the beginning part of the day was really hard. And being that it is the last week of the month, with all the moon energy going on, I really felt like I needed a break, another one. I mean, I'm reflecting back, and the first break that I took was really because of the losses that I experienced with family members, letting go of certain relationships, or learning how to let go of the emotional baggage, and learning how to accept where these individuals are in their journey. And so with that comes this sense of grief and loss, and kind of emotionally and energetically saying goodbye to the energy. And I feel like I'm still learning how to interact with individuals around me, enough to where I won't say or do something that might hurt them. I know I can be really blunt and sometimes a little too straightforward, that I hurt people's feelings, and some of you who know me might think the opposite. But when you're in your element, sometimes how you perceive, how you present yourself to other people sometimes varies or differs from when you're within your own four walls. And so I think for me, one of my challenges has been to be authentic within my four walls, but also outside. And I feel like I'm definitely working towards that and making progress. So that was that first chapter that actually I didn't record, because that was before the idea had come up. The chapters the episodes that I did capture most recently were a result of another type of energetic connection that really was consuming, and I did allow that to happen. I'm owning that, right? Because no one can take away your power unless you give it to them. So I think I was teetering on crazy with just the emotional mood swings, and just the thoughts that were just kind of like going, and the psychosomatic pains and so whatnot. So I've really been working on letting go of that energy, and not wanting to go back there. I really feared how that was going to continue to impact my day-to-day life, my livelihood at this point. And been fortunate enough that the people at work have been so gracious with me, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they know work ethic, and they know where my heart is. And I think there's a great understanding that I'm going through something different and difficult, and they're worried for me, and I know that, and I acknowledge that. And I've been slowly trying to speak my truth there, trying to let go of doubt, doubt that they'll understand, letting go of doubt in terms of the synchronicities. They've been showing up again, not strongly, but enough to know that I'm on the right track, or at least enough to know that I'm balanced in what I'm attempting to achieve. And the first synchronicity that occurred a couple nights ago, when I was adamant about putting up the videos, I was working on some things, and I kid you not, a spider literally like almost landed like right. It was like it went like right in front of me, past my face really quickly. And for those of you that know me, I've had to overcome my fear of spiders. And this, out of nowhere, I'm just like, what the? And then it's like, and you feel, I heard it because it landed on my booklet. And then I kind of stepped back. My friend was here that day, and I was trying to find a way to capture this little spider because it was quick, and let it go outside. And so my friend helped me to do that, but it shook me. And then he happened to ask, well, what does it mean? And so we looked it up, and it was just, another crazy significance. Not crazy, but a validation of the work that we were doing late that night, and just of the late work that he's been doing as well, and helping me achieve, the projects that I have in mind. So I'm very grateful for his efforts, and for the signs from the universe. But also just, I know I mentioned moving on, and again, just when I'm connecting with this individual, it's the balance comes up, which is nice. And I'm really looking forward to experiencing what that is all about. I think I haven't been sharing my tarot shuffle. I kept the one that came out a couple days ago, or yesterday, which was Strength. I don't know if I showed you guys that one. But the Strength card, which is different than the other Strength cards that I've seen in the tarot readings. Usually the Strength card is it's Leo, right? But it's the lion that has the arm of someone, some female, and it's supposed to signify like strength that she has by taming a part of herself. I don't feel like this one represents that at all. She looks exhausted. She looks almost defeated. And the wolf is there to help her, in terms of calling out to the moon, to the universe for guidance, or maybe divine intervention. But that's what stood out for me was just how she slumped over. She just looks exhausted, She looks exhausted. I don't know, it's the shadow of the lighting. She looks exhausted, and there's a little butterfly that's almost like if it's coming to the wolf's call, maybe. And butterfly signifies change. So So that's what stood out for me. But then in reading the little booklet's description of it, it actually says strength linked with Leo, associated with the power of insight, enthusiasm, passion, and brilliance. When you let go of control, you can discover your inner strength and overcome your fears. Instead of domination, work with gentle persuasion, calm, and purpose to face problems. Strength means faith in your own capacity, being honest and without masks. The wolf with the moon signifies creativity and the strength to overcome any obstacle to creativity. The snake symbolizes male energy and transformation. The flower symbolizes female energy, doing as your heart tells you, and the earth element. The Hebrew character lamed represents knowledge, learning, and teaching. So that's what that stood for. But it's just interesting how I kind of just take it a little bit different based on where I'm at. But I decided to keep it for 2 days because when I do the tarot shuffle, I actually put it out in front of me wherever I'm working or wherever I'm at, just as a reminder of what I want to focus on, what I want to learn, right? Because those are the questions I ask myself. What challenge do I need to be aware of? What challenge do I need to learn from? And what challenge needs my love and compassion? So I chose not to do the tarot shuffle today because I wanted to keep this card. I wanted to stay focused on the fact that I do have strength, I do have my power, and I shouldn't give it away, right? It needs to stay with me. And I think this past week was clear in the sense that I really gave it away. I was out of control and borderline unhealthy, and but today I really felt a lot more balanced. I really felt a lot more peaceful. I think taking that time from work for self-care to sleep in, I feel like I was rested. And MJ talked about making sure that we connect to our ancestors during this time because the blue moon is approaching and Halloween. So actually, if last weekend I purchased this oracle deck because I was curious about what an oracle deck is. Actually, I still haven't found what the difference is between a tarot deck and an oracle deck. But we went to that little store nearby, and so I ended up purchasing this one, which I think it just called out to me. It's I've always been fascinated with Native American traditions and culture, and just I think it's just beautiful. I've always been drawn to that, and I remember buffaloes used to be my favorite animal before elephants. Now it's elephants, but yeah, it's just I was drawn to it, and the cards are beautiful. I took the time to look at each card, and it's beautiful work. It's just wow. So anyways, MJ just continued to talk about this upcoming week and what might be coming up for me. And again, it's all, there's a collective behind it. So, you take what resonates with you, leave everything else behind. But one of the things she kept stressing over and over from the morning message, it started from yesterday, and then again today twice, was this need for me to meditate some more. I didn't meditate this morning, and I meditated tonight, and I'm gonna again meditate during my sleep, or at least to help me fall asleep. But it was interesting because I was meditating, and she mentioned that I needed to connect with my guides to hear whatever message I needed to hear about this particular person coming my way. And so I guess the books that come with these, just like the little tarot one, it tells you how to read, different ways to read, different ways to pose questions and then read the messages or the answers depending on what you want to know. And so it starts off, at least this one, the one for the Sun and Moon Tarot was a little bit different. It was a little more simpler, but I then simplified it even more by just wanting one card. This one actually gives you the option of one card, 2 cards. It also gives you the option of this whole setup, but I feel like that was a little overwhelming. Just again, this is my first Oracle deck, and I didn't want to overwhelm myself. And so if I figured, well, if I start off with one card with the tarot, then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. So I posed the question, and I guess it's for these, it's more of a specific. The more specific you are, the more specific the response. And so I asked the question about what message I needed to know about the person that was coming towards me. And so I ended up getting this perception. Isn't that beautiful? Like, I think it's just very beautifully done. Perception. And the funny thing is just like, I was hoping for something a little more specific. Because this one I had already sensed that this was going to be like a challenge for me to overcome also. But I don't know if you can tell. So she has a seashell on her third eye chakra, but also a larger one right here in her throat chakra. And so that's what I ended up gravitating towards. And so then I thought, okay, seashell. You know, when you put up the seashell to your ears, you can hear the ocean. You can hear the waves, right? For those of you that experience that, I do every time I pick up a seashell. But and so I was really focusing on the seashells, right? I mean, as it is, the third eye chakra focuses more on like being insightful, seeing the truth of the matter, and then the throat chakra is, you know, speaking your truth. And so if it's perception, I took from that I need to be insightful and discern the truth of what is said, but also of what is shared by me. So just as much as I'm taking in whatever this person shares with me, and my perception and discernment of that, it's really important how I then respond. Because a lot of, you know, it's this whole communication is a two-way street, right? I mean, if one person communicates and the other person doesn't respond, then it lends itself for tension. You know, with communication, it's a two-way street. You know, you want to share and you want to be heard, right? And you want to share and you want to be heard. And so often the majority of the communication is how communication is delivered. And that includes body language. It includes tone of voice. For the majority part of that interaction versus the actual words that you use. So I kept thinking in my mind, Payu, I need to really own Payu. You know, to think and not react emotionally, just really listen and see the truth behind the matter. But in regards to the seashells, ocean waves, right? You're listening to ocean waves. Well, ocean is representation of water, right? Deep water, and we know that water emotions are being symbolized by sorry, I'm just smiling because there's a little like small feather floating around. So ocean is equivalent to water and the depths of it, right? There's just so much, the depths of the ocean. And apparently from what I've picked up with all of this, water is symbolic for emotions. And so I wrote down speaking from the heart, seeing the other person's heart in the matter. I also noticed the top part seems very airy, and then the bottom part seems more flowy, like water as well. And so, yeah, I don't know why I wrote that down. I guess I didn't. But anyway, so the booklet breaks the meaning up into 3 parts. So an earthly message, or an earthly meaning, a spiritual meaning, and then it's insight. And so it really just, again, just talks about being careful, to listen, observe, and better my chances. I'm assuming of understanding, and not to be swayed by gossip, third-party accounts, reputation, just to trust my perception and interpretation of a situation. The spiritual meaning is that my senses are clouded by thoughts and emotions. So the recommendation was to try to distance myself from what others say, detach emotionally, quiet my judgment, and clear my thoughts. And then it was funny because when it said that I was being clouded, so I picked this card after my meditation attempt to connect with the ancestors. I don't know what that means or who they are, but that was the recommendation, so that's what my intention was. And it was funny because, or not funny, but just a coincidence that during my meditation, I had a really hard time just being quiet. You know, there were so many thoughts coming in, but then there was moments where it almost seemed like I was looking through clouds. Like it was just foggy and smoky at the same time. And so it did feel like a fog that I was seeing, and then my thoughts would get in the way. And so it was just really interesting to be able to pick this card and then for it to acknowledge that I'm being already clouded, right? And so I also made the intention of picking out a card that I would continue to focus on tonight during my sleep, and attempt again, and hopefully, because I'm in a more rested state of mind, maybe through my dreams, and requesting that through my dreams I receive the message, and remember it. Of course, right? You want to remember that. So yeah, a theme that came up was gaslighting. So I had to look that up, and I guess it to be aware of that, which stands for manipulation, right? Making the other person seem less than, and I guess just to be aware of that next week. So I don't know. I mean, letting go of doubt. I think I'm letting go of doubt. There's just too many signs, too many synchronicities. I mean, the spider, the messages that are coming through, the strength card. I mean, the balance numbers. It's just, it's there, and you know, it's a choice, right? To trust is a choice, and I'm going to trust this process. I'm going to surrender to the experience, because it's led me this far, and as difficult as it has been, it has also been rewarding to feel a little more empowered than I felt before, to feel a little more free than I felt before, to feel, I want to say freedom freedom. Freedom in being able to explore other parts of myself that I had, kept dormant. The freedom to explore my creativity again, the freedom to heal, years of hurt and pain. Yeah, so it was a good day. I'm letting go of doubt, and trusting this process. Yeah. That was it for tonight. I guess I'll see what tomorrow holds.